All right, y'all. T.C.B. the Country Boy coming back at you from Big D. What's happening, everyone? The biggest influence that I think that the Beatles had as far as writing and who they were before they developed their own sound or whatever, they was into like rockabilly. They was into like country kind of music. They was into R&B, brothers kind of music and stuff like that. And you know, the rockabilly kind of music, that's exactly what that is, man. That is country folks who took a lot of their country music and turned it into like from soul to gospel to black folk music and turned it into what it is, man. So, you know, come to think of it, country music, a lot of that stuff ain't nothing but, you know, old sharecropper music, you know, back in the day. For example, there's a dude named Carl Perkins. Y'all want to know the artist that the Beatles most covered? They sang more songs of Carl Perkins and recorded more songs of Carl Perkins than any other person, any other group. I think they recorded 7 songs from Carl Perkins. And that dude was a sharecropper. He was a white sharecropper, at least his family was. And he learned guitar and songs from an old black guy. And I tell you what, man, he said that set him off, and he knew that was going to get him away from sharecropping, and that was going to get him out of the fields, and it turned his life around. He is absolutely probably one of the most unsung artists in the history of country music, that kind of stuff. But I mean, old rock and roll, rockabilly type stuff, and that's exactly what the Beatles took, and then they took it to the next level and then put their own spin on it and throwed, you know, their rockabilly, their British, their pop music and made it all one. And man, they took over the world, man. They did. And I'm going to show you some clips from Carl Perkins, just little clips and snippets just to show you, and some verbiage just to show you what I found. I think you're going to dig it.
Paul, I want to welcome you to Memphis, Tennessee.
Throughout his colorful career, Carl has influenced a lot of great artists, but none more so than his old friend and one-time Beatle, Paul McCartney.
All right.
In 1993 at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee, these two legends of rock got together backstage before Paul's concert. Let's watch now as the two masters jam, tell stories, and give us a glimpse into the early days of rock and roll.
We're down in Memphis where the mighty Mississippi flows. Yeah, we're sitting down in Memphis having a ball at the Liberty Bowl. Cause old Carl Perkins came to see the Paul McCartney show. What you say about it, son?
I say I'm here with Carl in Memphis, his hometown.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. I said I'm here with Carl and I know he ain't gonna let me down.
Not at all, boy.
Not if he can help it. Well, the last time I saw him, he really shook the roof down.
Showing out a little, ain't you?
When didn't I?
Oh
boy.
Tough enough.
Hey, listen, Carl, remember when we met?
Oh,
you were telling me
wow.
about the
Never
early
forget.
days. You were telling me about how you learned guitar.
Yeah.
Who did you learn off? Remind me who that was.
There was a black gentleman that I grew up in the Lake County cotton field. Taught me how to pick cotton. And he played a little guitar. I thought he was great. His name was John Westbrooks, and he did a little thing like a... And I must have been maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he would go... And I can see that fingernail popping on
Reminds me of Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix. That.
I'd hear Uncle John Westbrook, he'd go, and about 8 or 10 rows over, Sister Juanita'd say, oh, yeah. And my little blood would start crawling around through my soul. I'd say, oh, boy, they're going to sing. Gonna lay down my burdens on down by the riverside, boom, boom, down by the riverside. And I can, to this day, hear the music, the rhythm, the feel that I heard these black people sing, and I'd catch myself singing along with them. The thing that was so magic about it, a lot of those people didn't know the words to some of the songs they'd start singing, but it would be that good up-tempoed, some glad morning when this life is ooh yeah, fly away. It was just flooding the air.
So he's the man we have to thank, huh?
Well,
now,
no question about
what's
it.
happened to him? Nobody knows.
Well, he was an old man back then, Paul, and he passed away many years ago. But he left inside this little country boy a new sound. It was the environment that I was raised in that caused me to be maybe a little bit different with my country music, but it basically was country songs that I was speeding up, and that's what Rockabilly turned out to be.
You know, Carl, as you know, when we were kids in Liverpool, some of our friends had come over to the States, and they'd come over to places like New Orleans, Memphis and that, with the boats, mainly sailors, sailing out of Liverpool. And they'd come back and they'd bring these records. And there was some stuff, we never really heard before. We'd heard of Elvis Presley, we'd heard of Little Richard and stuff. Started hearing about this guy, this kid, Carl Perkins.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, man, and we became like really serious big fans of your stuff.
And when I came to Sun Records in Memphis, there was a boy by the name of Elvis who just started. I was the second cat in there, and we didn't know what we were doing. We knew that some of the kids were liking what we were playing.
I suppose all you guys got it from the same place. All those black guys, playing that stuff, and you white guys picked it up.
That's it. And then there was a black guy by the name of Chuck Berry who was picking up on some country things with, hey, Maybelline, why don't you be true? Maybelline, why don't you be true? Just start back doing the things you used to do. Bill Monroe could have done that song.
It was great hearing that those were like real stories, because it just communicated itself so easily to us, that kind of thing. We were just kind of poor Liverpool kids, not really country boys, but
Right.
you could hear it just coming through that these things were like true, And the other thing where you do, made the world, he made it round, you're loving it to the sugar bugger, it's getting late. No, that's Lend Me Your Comb. That's Lend Me Your Comb. There's similar chords there.
Yeah.
I used to do Lend Me Your Comb.
Oh,
but
really?
the thing about it was, why we used to love it was this line we thought was like really like far out. Sugar bugger, it's getting late. Because in England...
I know. I found out about it when I
That's,
came over in '64.
yeah.
That's when I met you guys.
Yeah,
And
Abbey
you-
Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you were the one who told me. You said, hey, they had to bleep that
I
out.
said, great, man, great. How did you dare do that? He said, what's wrong with it?
I know.
Sugar bugger? He said, well, that doesn't mean anything where I'm from.
It
We're
does.
saying, wow, you controversial fool, you. But I remember being there, before the Beatles, before anything, where I was just as fans. You already had your career started, But we'd be there, like I remember being in John's house. We'd have one record, you'd often have to travel all the way across the town because you'd hear the legend. So-and-so's got a Carl Perkins record. You say, where's he live? What's the bus route? And we'd get on about 3 buses across town to there, and get to there, go up to his house. We hear, you've got a Carl Perkins record. He said, yeah, sure I have. We said, can we borrow it, please? Just for a day, man. Just while we get the records, just to get the chords. the words and stuff. We just listened to that thing all evening, man.
Oh,
Sit there,
God.
play it at slow speed to get the words off it.
You mean you slow the record down?
It's What'd you say? What'd you say? I don't know. I think. Oh, it's great though, man.
Well, goes to show you never know who's listening and what they're thinking.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, I still love all of those tunes. Whenever we jam with the band, you know, you tend to stay around this nice, simple stuff.
I feel lucky that I've even got to be a very small spoke in this big wheel of rockabilly music.
Well, Carl didn't stay home for long. His legendary songwriting kept him right smack in the middle of the next generation of rock and roll superstars.
I remember, I remember getting a phone call from you in 1981. I was sitting at home and my wife Val answered the phone. She said, "Carl, he says he's Paul McCartney." You said, "What you doing, boy?" I said, "I'm sitting here at the house, man. What you doing? Where are you?" You said, "Can you come down to Montserrat?" He said, "I'm down in the West Indies and I'm recording an album." I said, "Well, if I knew where it was at, it would help." You sent me...
Somewhere in the Caribbean, just head this way, we'll find it.
That's right. And you sent me a ticket. But the great part of that to me was 8 wonderful days with you and your family. As the days went by and time started drawing near and I knew I was going to go home the next morning, I sat out on the patio that night and I was thinking about how lucky Carl Perkins was. And I'm kind of sentimental, so I thought, sometimes I can sing it when I can't say it. And the night before I left, remember a little song that I wrote?
I do.
I said, "On the Isle of Montserrat, no, I never shall forget. Just a country boy, a guitar and a song. You invited me in, and you've treated me like kin, and you've given me a reason to go on. You're my old friend. Thanks for inviting me in. My old friend. May this goodbye never mean the end. If we never meet again this side of life, in a little while over yonder where it's peace and quiet, my old friend, won't you think about me every now and then? When I finished, if I told you how he was really crying then, tears flowing down his face, and he stepped outside. Our emotions, they're just now setting in. And Linda put her arms around me. She said, "Thank you, Carl. He needed that." That wherever Lennon had been killed the prior December. My old friend. It was a touching moment, and it was kind of a little frightful moment for me. My old friend, may this goodbye never mean the end. And if we never meet again this side of life, in a little while over yonder where is peace and quiet, my old that you think about me every now and then.
Carl,
And that was the little girl that answered the original phone call. Hello?
Paul McCartney just called.
Belle, are you kidding me?
No, but I didn't answer the phone. I was in the...
Paul McCartney. Now listen, this, I'm telling you guys.
Hear me?
He left his number. Now let me tell you something. If you think that this boy is not got connection with the spirit world.
Tears streamed down Paul's face, and he stood up and stepped outside. Not knowing what the matter was, Carl stopped, and Linda put her arms around him, thanking him for helping Paul to connect with his grief over John Lennon's death. Linda explained that the last time Paul talked to John, he had said the same line to Paul, "Think of me every now and then, my old friend." Carl had no doubt that the song was from John Lennon as a gift to Paul. The story doesn't end there. The only reason this story is known publicly is because Carl told the story while being filmed in 1997. When he got done telling the story on camera, sitting in his studio and sang the refrain, his wife buzzed in on the intercom and said, "Carl, Paul McCartney just called." Carl was so stunned at the coincidence, he turned to the camera, speechless, and said, "You tell me this boy has not got a connection to the spirit world." Carl Perkins coincidentally died exactly 1 year to the day later, after suffering 2 strokes. If he had not been inspired to do a video in 1997 on his musical career and recounted this experience, we would never have known the story.
We could go on for hours, man.
Oh,
We're going for hours.
Great.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, my man.
Thanks for being you, huh? Big inspiration, man. Really, to me, all the Beatles, countless millions of other British kids. The man. Thank you.
God bless you, Paul McCartney.
You too,
Wonderful.
Carl. Thanks, man.
And man, that was some beautiful stuff, man. I could tell that you know, after watching this clip, after watching Paul McCartney and Carl Perkins together, man, they really did love each other, man. They was like really tight bros, man. And I could tell the appreciation that each one of them had for each other, the admiration that each one of them had for each other, and man, the things that the Beatles and Paul McCartney said about Carl Perkins, and I mean, he even said to the point that if it wasn't for Carl Perkins, there wouldn't have been a Beatles. I mean, that's how strong that was. And man, to throw that out there, that as soon as, you know, they heard somebody had a Carl Perkins album, man, they'd get on the train or get on the bus and go over to that person's house, man. Can I borrow it for a couple of days just so we could learn the chords, so we could play it or whatever, man. And you could tell Carl Perkins was, I mean, even then, he may have not heard it from Paul McCartney. You know, he may have known it, but until you hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, he didn't know. And when he told him stuff like that, man, you could tell that you know, that Carl Perkins just loved it, man. He just was just so humble, man, so cool about it, you know. And even Paul McCartney is such that way, man. I've heard him say numerous times that he's just a regular old dude from Liverpool, man. I mean, and I'm sure so many people go up to him and are just all freaked out and, oh my God, they don't know how to act or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm sure to a certain degree, man, that would be kind of embarrassing on Paul McCartney. Because, like, man, come on, dude, stand up, man. You ain't got to be on the floor kissing my shoes and shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to. He is a regular dude, you know what? I mean, he may have been blessed by God, and that blessing is incredible and all that other stuff, but, man, I don't know, maybe that's just me, man. I ain't got no problem saying nothing to him. Like I said, if I knew the dude's address and I knew he'd open the door and say, hey, what's up? Man, I'd be standing there with a camera. Snap. Man, I tell you what, we'd be having him on the YouTube channel, I guarantee you. But he is that great, man. He is that great. And somebody asked me who my favorite Beatles is. Man, it's got to be Paul McCartney, man. All right. I'll see y'all later. All right, y'all. TCB, the country boy, coming back at you from Big D. What's happening, everybody? I just want to let y'all know that if y'all do know of somebody that's got a house that needs some work and they want to get rid of it, they don't want to mess with it anymore, let us know. Let us know who those people are. Get us in contact with them. If we buy the house, I'll give you $1,000, man. Simple as that. Just for the hookup of knowing somebody that's got a house that they want to get rid of, man. Anywhere in the United States, as long as it's a decent, livable neighborhood, and you know we don't get killed going over there trying to fix it up or whatever. But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. So we can do some business and some fun at the same time. So there you go, y'all. I appreciate it.